Prince Albert sits on the edge of the northern boreal forest, where the agricultural plain of southern Saskatchewan changes to the forested hills of the north. The Nisbet Provincial Forest, a mixture of poplar, birch, and jackpine, is crisscrossed with hundreds of kilometers of trails. Those trails, covered deep with snow, become the winter playground for Nancy Dragan, lady musher, teacher, and committed community volunteer.
Good job, guys.
It is a world of calm, away from the tension and cares of work. It is a world of silence, except for the rumble of runners sliding smoothly across the snow. It's a world where wildlife coexists, frightened little by the interruption of dogs intent on pressing on. A white-tailed buck signals that he is aware of the dogs on the trail, but does not panic at their quiet passing. In this silent world of snow, her dogs race on. For Nancy, mushing is more than just a hobby. It is her passion, a passion sparked by love for her animals and her incredible sense of caring and empathy for her fellow humans. It is a passion that she has grown to include the local community outside of the circle of mushers. As a high school English and physical education teacher, Nancy incorporates her passion for dogs into her classes.
Okay, getting back to what we talked about yesterday in the book, talking about equipment and some of the equipment that you use when you're dog sledding. I brought in Sky today, and we're going to show you how to harness and the reason that we use booties, and we'll also have a chance here to show you how to correctly put booties on. Okay, so first we're going to put this harness on Sky, and this is an X-back harness, and there's two types of harnesses. We have an X-back, which this one is, and we also have an H-back harness. It's just sort of what you prefer to use as a dog sledding person. And we're going to fit both parts over the dog's head, over the collar. We're going to get her to sit up here, and then through the feet. Okay, and this is one of the first things that has to be done before you actually get out on the sleigh. Okay, and we talked about, when we were at the dog yard the other day, we talked about how the harness pulls. And again, the dog is hooked up to, by the collar to a neckline, and then to a tug line. And we talked about how important the tug was in the novel, how mushers want a tight tug line and a dog that pulls really hard, and that's where the dog pulls off of. So you got a tight tug line, she's all ready to go.
Beyond the classroom, she takes her dogs into the wider community. Just a short hop away from Carleton Comprehensive High School, where she teaches, is the Mont St. Joseph Long-Term Care Home. Here, as an extracurricular activity, a group of students work with Nancy's dogs in a pet therapy program.
She's one of the first volunteers that called me up when we first opened this new facility, and had some interest in having these big dogs come in. And I was a wee bit skeptical at first because they're so large, and I thought, huskies, I'm not sure. Anyway, so I had an opportunity to see them in action and to get to know her a little bit before we started. And the first time I met her, I was absolutely sold. I should say them, because the dogs are the big part. So many of our residents have been pet lovers and had animals throughout their lives, and they know the dogs by name. They'll often sit outside here and wait. You know, it's time. How come they're not here yet? They have treats. They phone their families and say, can you please, I'm out of dog bones, please bring in treats because the visitors are coming. They really very much enjoy their company, and they can identify. It really lends itself well to reminiscing, and they'll start talking about an old friend that they had for a pet, and those kinds of things. Sometimes it's hard to move outside of your comfort zone, but when the pet or the dog lends itself very well to visiting, to talking, to discussing what breed it is, what kind of dog it is. So it's a really good icebreaker for maybe a student that is not as comfortable with visiting with the elderly. This program has been invaluable. I really am so impressed with Nancy's commitment, not only to this program, but to the students. She really gives her all to these kids. She works hard with them. She really has high expectations of herself, but portrays to them the importance of giving to other people and to sharing your passion in life with other people. And that's what she does. It's what she does for all of us. Her passion are those dogs and dog sledding, and she's trained some of them to become, therapy or companion dogs. It's just brought so much to our home. It's brought so much to our being neighbors with Carleton High School and working together with this program. It's been a wonderful experience for everybody.
As with anyone that keeps animals, Nancy has a daily routine of feeding and caring for her dogs.
Now, since it's winter time, everybody's getting fed a real good quality of dry kibble. The dogs that are in the training team are getting a little more food than the dogs that are retired. The dogs that are also training get fed a supplement of meat just because they need more calories, because they're running 3 or 4 times a week, about 1,000 miles a season. A lot of these dogs that you see here are retired. These guys that I'm feeding right now are your purebred Siberians. And you probably notice lots of noise as I'm feeding. When you're feeding your sled dogs, there's 2 times that your sled dogs are really, really noisy. One is when they're getting fed, and the other is when they're getting hooked up to be run. It's a combination of 2 types of dogs in this yard. There's the purebred Siberian Husky, and then there's the Alaskan Husky. Of course, the Siberian Husky is the purebred show quality or not necessarily registered dog. The dogs that you see in the movies used for sled dogging. And the dogs that are slimmer and don't really maybe look like the true Husky are the Alaskan Huskies, which originated in Alaska and were crossbred with lots of different dogs to get a faster racing dog with more endurance. Started out just getting a pet Siberian Husky and thought I'd try some dog sledding, and went out and struggled my way through it. It was like I got 1 pet Siberian Husky, and then I got 2, and then I got 3, and then I got 4, and then I got 8, and then I got 14, and now it's turned into 21. So I've bred some of my own dogs, bought some dogs, rescued some dogs, and just started to really enjoy the sport of dog sledding. After I finished coaching basketball, because I'm a high school teacher, I started the pet therapy program because I wanted a way to still work with the kids at my high school and incorporate my dogs into that. So we started the pet therapy program at Mount St. Joseph, and we also do some other things. We work with some other long-term care homes and some other nursing homes, and then of course in the community with children and adults of all types. So we've done a bereavement camp for children. We've worked at summer camps with kids. We've worked with some mentally challenged adults and children at different camps. And we're pretty much open to doing any type of activity in the community. Well, you learn to budget, that's for sure. I'm very lucky because I'm sponsored by a very high quality dog food company. As well, there's a local feed store in town that sponsors me, and A local butcher also helps me with some meat and gives it to me quite cheap. But actually these Huskies, they don't eat as much as you would think. Most of these dogs are eating 1 cup a day and maintaining a healthy body weight. So starting in September, we start training on the ATV, and we do that until the snow comes. And we try to go 3 to 4 times a week, twice on the weekend and for sure twice during the week if that works out. So they're getting a lot of exercise. Most of these dogs, the ones that are running, training regularly, should have about 800 to 1,000 miles on them before the season's through. And then the other dogs that are retired or semi-retired, we let them run a little bit, just in fun runs and that. But they get lots of exercise right on their posts as well.
Even preparing for a short run is a lot of work. The dogs have to be unloaded, booted if snow conditions require it, and harnessed to the sled. The excitement of the dogs is tremendous as they prepare to run. They bark incessantly and lunge forward against their traces. The lead dogs are somewhat more restrained, older, calmer. Their role will be to set the pace and follow directions. They have done this many times before. Soon, even the leaders start to pull. But with the sleighs still solidly fastened, their straining accomplishes nothing until they are released and the toboggan leaps ahead. The eagerness of the dogs to be off quickly transforms into a steady pace as the dogs run rapidly on. Though their pace will slow gradually, they will not tire for many miles, and the dogs can easily cover 30 miles before they will be ready to rest.
Hey, easy guys. Huh? Huh? And what you're hearing now is the scritch, scritch of the runners and maybe the jingle of the dogs' collars and maybe them breathing, but it's pretty silent out here. All right, guys. G. It's hard to express the joy of being out here. I've always loved the out of doors, whether it be camping or whitewater canoeing, hiking, but being out here with the dog team, it just is that added dimension. And the bond that you form with your dogs, like with working dogs, is, very different. I have pet dogs as well, and I'm, love them to death, but there's just a different type of bond that you form with a working dog. You do not have to force these dogs to run. They're bred to run. They absolutely love it. If you leave some of the old timers at home in the yard, they're crying and howling. They want to run so bad. The minute you take out a harness, the dogs are just barking and growling and ripping at the snow. They absolutely love it. We're running in the day right now, but running at night is really intriguing. The dogs cast very, very large shadows. It makes it look like you're running in front of a pack of wolves. The dogs actually run better at night. It's cooler. They see very well. I know when I first started running at night, it was a little spooky to me because every little snow crystal I saw I thought was wolves' eyes or some animal out in the bush creeping around. But it is really quite beautiful. And last night there was a full moon, and it's almost like you're running behind a bunch of spiritual creatures as you glide along on this flying carpet ride along the trail.